Hello and welcome. This is TVC News at 7. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited now has a new board constituted by President Bola Tinubu. The new 11-man board has Bashir Ojulari as the group CEO to replace Mele and Ahmadu Kida to replace Pius Akinyelure as non-executive chairman. Mr. President invoked the powers granted under Section 59, subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, which emphasized the need to enhance operational efficiency. Appointed as 6 board members, non-executive directors representing the country's geopolitical zones. They are Bayo Onanuga, Northwest, Yusuf Usman from Northeast, and Babs Motowa, who represents North Central. President Tinubu also appointed Austin Avuru as non-executive director from the South-South, David Ige from Southwest, and Henry Obi from the Southeast. The permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Lydia Jafia, will represent the ministry of the new board, while Aminu Ahmed will represent the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Now, all the appointments are effective from today. President Tinubu has now handed out an immediate action plan to the new board to conduct a strategic portfolio review of NNPC operated and joint venture assets to ensure alignment with value maximization objectives. Now, the administration also envisions increasing the investment to $30 billion by 2027 and $60 billion by 2030. President Tinubu expects the new board to elevate NNPCL's share of crude oil refining output to 200,000 barrels by 2027 and reach 500,000 barrels by 2050. Former TUC President Peter Esele joins me on the news at 7 for more on this. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, this news came quite very early this morning. For some people, it was a shock. Some said this is long overdue. But I want to get your reaction to what now seems like a shakeup within the oil industry.
Yes, first, if you say it's a shock, I think I will align with both. In terms of shock, not that much. Kyari has already passed the mandatory 60 years. And so he was actually due for retirement, a little bit of an extension for him. And I think Kyari has done his best. Under his tenure, we got the first audit of the NNPC for over 30 years. But this new board that have just been put in place by Mr. President gave me a lot of hope, because this is what I'll call an all-star team. You know, what you have is the cream de la cream of the oil and gas. These are people that you can say in the military palace. You will say these are generals in the field. They have capacity, they have experience, they have expertise, and they have competency. And so when I saw the names, I was gushing. I was impressed with the lineup. Even with the geopolitical representation, you find out that what the president did was putting round pegs in round holes. Pardon my cliche. This is not a board that the president just made for the boys. No. This is a board constituted by the president for people that want to deliver, that people who believe have what it takes to move NNPC forward.
And what about the new GMD CEO? It would seem like, I mean, a lot of people have been giving their opinion. He's been in the oil sector as well. What's your thought on him and then the task ahead of him?
That's why he's a star. And so when I use that word, that this is an all-star team, even up to the chairman of the board. Here you have somebody who is coming. You have people who have worked in Total E&P, Chevron, LLNG, Snepco. So you have, that's why I use the word cream de la cream. So I'm very hopeful about this board, and I'm hoping that the president will allow them, make sure that there are no political interference, for them to deliver. You also look at Mr. Austin Avuru. Yeah, these are people who set up their own business, they run it, and they are private sector oriented. And what I think that brings to the table is transparency, integrity, accountability. These are not people who want to work for the sake of collecting money for the next election or playing politics with NNPC. That's why I am very, very elated to have these names that the president rolled out this morning.
And it would seem like we're behind in terms of oil production. I think it was Angola. Was it Angola or Algeria who took, over Nigeria in terms of oil production on the continent? We've never been able to meet the OPEC requirements as well in terms of numbers of barrels that should be produced. Right now, the president has given a directive in terms of, how many barrels per day he wants to see in terms of certain years. But what do you think should be done if we were to meet that target?
First thing is we are behind in everything. If you put NNPC, you rank NNPC with its peers. NNPC's peers should be Aramco, Petrobras. These are people NNPC should be. These are companies NNPC should be rubbing shoulders with. So we are behind in everything. And one thing I find very, very happy about is that the president coming out to give what I'll call key performance indicators. And the president setting all those guidelines means that these guys coming in know what is expected of them. And it's a different ball game than when you have people who are political appointees. So what do we need to do to make sure that we hit 2 million barrels, then 3 million barrels, which are the various targets set by the president? Is first of all, we need to provide security. The environment for them to perform should be there, which is one, security. Two, there should be transparency and accountability, less political interference, and everything should be done according to due process. There are ways you do things. I'll give you an example of Aramco. Aramco made sales of about $480 billion last financial year. And if you compare that with NNPC, what NNPC is making, it's paltry sum. Because first you need to look at Saudi Arabia produces about 10 million barrels a day. Yes, you are going to say there is that disparity of what Saudi Arabia is producing. But what we are producing is far behind, and there is need for us to improve on all of that. And the first goal is to make sure that you have the right people at the helm of affairs. And this is what I think the president has done.
Back home, the expectation is that, look, right now, in terms of accessibility, which we, to an extent we've had, we've not really had fuel scarcity in some months, that stays consistent, and then affordability is also put into, into the bigger picture with all our refineries coming on board. I also just wanted you to speak to that because that's the expectation of Nigerians.
Yes, if we talk in terms of affordability, that is out of. I'm looking for a very milder way to approach that, because I think we all should educate Nigerians more about the prices for petrol. Petrol is priced in dollars. So if petrol is priced in dollars, crude oil is priced in dollars. If crude oil is priced in dollars, and whatever you are going to get at the end of the day is also going to be dollarized, but you are paying for it in naira. So if you are talking in terms of affordability, if anybody is thinking that you are going to buy petrol 400 naira, 500 naira down the road, please bury that thought. So what we are going to have is, I'm happy that we are having no scarcity anymore, and I don't think we will have scarcity anymore going forward. But what I will say, affordability depends upon how your interpretation of what affordability is. But the fact that crude oil is priced in dollars, and you have 1,500 naira on the average, to $1, and so when you put 1 + 1 together and you now equate that to the price of petrol at the pump station, 400, 500, 600, right now we are buying at about less than 1,000. So if the price of crude tank in the international market, then the prices will be lower at the pump station. There was a time it was 1,000 plus, but right now it's about less than 1,000. And if the price keeps falling, yes, you get lower prices. But it's also bad for economy if the price of crude oil keep tanking. So the best thing we should be asking ourselves is how government mitigate whatever challenges that will come. But please just bury the thought of 500 naira per liter petrol. It's not going to happen. All
right, thank you so much for your time. I don't know how Nigerians will react to that, but thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on. President TUC, Peter Esele.
Former president.
Former president. Thank you for the correction.
Thank you.